Sunrisers Hyderabad, and have really been dealt. You can call it a bit of a metaphorical blow in the gut when Rashid Khan was not retained. They don't know how to live without Rashid Khan. Never seen that in the IPL. So we'll see that for the first time. But the Sunrisers have 68 crore. That's the good thing. They got a lot of money to play with. And in Abdul Samad and Umran Malik, they've managed to pick two exciting young uncapped players for the future. Umran Malik, but the evidence of just a handful of games last season, came in as a net bowler for Sunrisers, clocked up 150 clicks, and here he is now retained ahead of a big auction along with Kane Williamson, arguably the best overseas captain choice, certainly in the IPL, up for grabs. So how do Sunrisers try and build from without a player that's been so big for them? Dan, Rashid Khan, you almost thought that was one thing you could build around in the past. So too David Warner. They now have to learn to live life without them.
Yeah, and they obviously have a great starting point with Kane there, but I suppose they are nervous around Kane's injury. I mean, that is ruled him out of a Test series here, so it'll be a slow build up for him towards that IPL series, and obviously there'll be a lot of pressure on him from New Zealand cricket and public that puts that first head of the IPL, but it's not always easy when you're on that huge amount of money that he is. So I think he's the starting point, and then. Look, I know Rashid Khan was the reason that they were so successful, but it was that bowling attack, that core around him, and they added the Indian fast bowlers, and whether they can go back to something like that with the likes of Chahal or Chahar, whether they could be the focal point of a rebuild, having that leg spinner that allows them to be aggressive and also dominate through those middle stages. So if I was Sunrisers, I wouldn't look too far removed from the past in terms of the fact that they are an incredibly successful franchise. Right? Like I know we've had numerous discussions around how we think they're one of the most stable franchises, and last year was probably a bit of an anomaly. So whether they can go back to that with Tom Moody in charge and probably in control of everything, he can direct the intentions of the franchise back to where they were.
One thing, GS, we've always said when we cover auctions over the years is we're always appreciative of Sunrisers at an auction. We tend to think they do smart things at an auction, even in a season when they finish last like last year. It's not like, or they had a bad season like last year. It's not like they had a bad team. So can we expect more of the same with Tom Moody back now, hands-on with the franchise?
Yeah, they've generally been a smart team. They also don't. Yeah, they did spend for Manish Pandey, but generally they got Kane for the steal the last auction. They managed to get back Rashid also. Remember, they didn't retain him as well. So I think they would have understood that the template has passed its time. So one of the biggest challenges all of us we keep discussing is they had three overseas right at the top. They had Kane, Bairstow, and Warner, and they could only fit in two. So all these mistakes they would kind of look to change this time around. So yes, you can definitely expect some very, very intelligent decisions from them. They might pick some very good, maybe their scouting might help. They have a very, very big team now. They have Dale Steyn, Brian Lara, Tom Moody. It's a star-studded lineup there itself. So I'm sure they'll come up with some very, very smart decisions. Again, I think they'll go for one really big buy upfront. I think they'll either go for Shreyas Iyer or Ishan Kishan and maybe try to just break the bank for them is my view.
All right. Akash?
I find it very interesting actually that when they retain two uncapped Indians. Generally, the whole idea about retention is that whoever you're retaining should walk into your playing 11 every single time, or at least 12 out of 14 games. You start with them. If they're not a part of your starting lineup, IPL has, like Dan right at the start said that 1 year is a long time. That's your long-term vision. So if they are not Umran Malik and Abdul Samad as talented as they are, promising potential and all of that, which is great, but do they walk into your playing 11 straight away? If the answer to that question is no, then again revisit what GS earlier mentioned. 80 crore rupees you're trying to spend to get your 15-16. The remaining will be available for a lot cheaper. So, but you have invested now 8 crore out of that kitty on two uncapped Indians who are not walking into your playing 11 if IPL were to happen tomorrow morning. So that's, I think it's a slightly strange decision from my standpoint. But other than that, it's a good thing. It's a good thing that Rashid is not there, and they should not look to repeat what has happened because Bhuvneshwar Kumar, you won't go to him, right? Sandeep Sharma, you won't go to him. Siddharth Kaul, you won't go to him. So if there's their whole formula, the bowling unit that they had put together, it had now passed that sell-by date. So now you do want their theory will still be the same. Left is right. They'll go for a lot of lefties. They'll build a very strong bowling unit. So those are a few DNA things that will stay. The philosophy that will stay, but change the personnel even if you're not changing the philosophy.